Welcome to my channel, and thank you for choosing my video to watch. This video is actually part of a longer video that I made about investing in stock market for the beginners under the title Complete Guide on How to Buy and Sell Stocks in Canada Bourse with Questrade. I will also put the link of that longer video in the descriptions below this video. So if you find this video helpful, make sure to check that as well. Also, please make sure to comment and tell me your questions if there is any. I will answer as much as I can, and give me any sort of criticism, positive, negative, and tell me what you think about it. So thank you once again, and without killing time more than this, let's just jump right into the video and see what I've prepared for you. Okay, in this section, we're going to see what TFSA is. Actually, as I mentioned, TFSA is a tax shelter. Any type of income that you have in Canada, you have to pay taxes on, particularly if you gain money. But the Canadian government, since I think 2009, has put forth this great means for investment, which helps you and the society to invest without the fear of, paying tax, because taxes are going to be much more the more you gain. Okay, so let's see what actually. Oh, and before that, you can also open a margin account in Questrade. It's not just TFSA. You're going to see for yourself further in the video, but the good news about TFSA is, as I said, you don't pay any tax on the gains. However, with regards to margin account, although you can do active trading, you can do everyday trading, buy and sell, which I'm against, but you have to pay tax on your gains. Okay. So as I mentioned, tax-free. It's a tax-free savings account. TFSA is a tax shelter program for the government of Canada to put forth to encourage investment. Okay. The second thing is, unlike its name, this is very important because unfortunately many people use this as a normal savings account. It's a big mistake. Do not use it as a savings account to just put money in it and to deposit and withdraw money. It's meant for investment. Maybe, I'm assuming that maybe because of how they named it, people think that it's an account, whereas they should have named it a tax-free savings program, not an account. Okay, you can hold anything, basically any sort of investment, stocks, bonds, ETFs, mutual funds, GICs, things of this sort. Okay. As I said, most Canadians treat it as a typical savings account. Okay, so this is so bad. TFSA has a contribution limit, okay, which is increased by the government each year. The good news is that you don't need, if you don't usually meet, it's not going to vanish. So it's going to add to your next contribution limit next year. Okay. Which means that I think we have in the next, okay, the first year. So you might be asking, okay, when does my contribution limit start? So the first year in which you turn 18 or you get your PR card. Okay, whichever is first. Okay, but remember, if you are 18 years of age but you don't have a PR card, or you're a newcomer and you still don't have a PR card, you cannot open a TFSA. Okay, so you need to become a permanent resident. It's going to be okay. So for example, if in 2020 you turn 18 or come to Canada and receive your PR card, your limit's going to be 6,000, because each year, as I mentioned, the government determines how much is your limit. Okay. Next thing, the sixth thing, if you'd like to find out, because you may want to see how much is your contribution limit, you can use this link. You can screenshot. I will also put it in the descriptions if I can. You can also Google. You can Google, calculator, TFSA contribution calculator. So the website, usually the first site should be this one. Okay. So what you want to do is to first determine the year that you turned 18 or that you came to Canada. So the first field, when you see in the website, of course, when you bring up the website, you have to scroll a little bit down. So you're going to determine the first year that you turned 18 or came to Canada, which for this example, I just put 2020. The second field, you have to say how much you have contributed, if any, to your TFSA, how much you have deposited. And the third one, you have to mention how much you've withdrawn from each of your from your TFSA. Okay, and then after you click on calculate, it also gives you the current year and also the next year. But let me tell you something, this next year is not reliable because it just calculates based on previous years. So if you want to make sure how much is the contribution limit for the next year, you have to wait till I think February, to the end of or mid February each year to find out how much is going to be the contribution limit for the next year. And usually the contribution starts, so you can contribute from the 1st of January of each year, okay, based on how much the contribution is. Okay, the 7th. As I said, each year by depositing into your TFSA, your limit gets decreased equal to the amount you deposited. Let's say, for example, this year, your, contribution limit is 6,000 and you put 3,000 in it. So you have already used that contribution limit. Okay, if you withdraw, it's not going to come back. It's just one time. So when you deposit 3,000, you have used that limit for the year. So you're not going to be able to get it back. Also, you're not allowed to deposit the same amount you withdraw, as I mentioned, unless you have a room left. Let's say, for example, your contribution limit is 6,000 and you already deposited 3,000. So you are left with another 3,000. So if you put another 3,000, then you have used your contribution limit for this year. Anything you put more than that, you're going to pay fine for it. You're going to be fined, okay? Until the moment that you withdraw the excessive amount. The good news is on January 1st each year, as I said, the amount you withdraw will be added to your contribution limit. Let's say, for example, your contribution limit is 6,000. You have withdrawn, you have deposited and withdrawn 6,000. So although you've used this, but because you've withdrawn everything, the next year, this contribution is going to be added to your next year contribution, okay? What did I write here? Note that unlike withdraw amount, which will be added back to your limit in the next year, if the stocks you bought in your TFSA lose value or fail, in addition to your money, you will also lose your total contribution limit. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. This is very important. Let's say you deposit $6,000 into your TFSA and you buy the stock of XYZ. Okay, so and you're very unlucky and XYZ company fails and they just file for bankruptcy. So a couple of things will happen. First of all of your stocks that you bought, whatever they are, their value is 0. So you have to contact Questrade to just remove them from your account. You have to email them and ask them to remove them from your account. This is the first thing. The second thing that's going to happen is you will lose your contribution limit. Okay? But apart from the contribution limit that you lose, you will also lose your money. Okay? So 6,000 will be gone. And so this is, for 6,000, it's nothing. But imagine you've been in Canada for 10 years. You have never used your contribution limit. And just imagine for this example that each year the government has determined 6,000 to be the contribution room for each year. Okay? So if you multiply 10 years by 6,000, $60,000 you can contribute. Let's say you have contributed all that amount. Sorry. Let's say you have contributed all that amount, you have deposited all that amount, and the stock you buy fails for whatever reason. So next year, your contribution is not going to start from 60,000. The government does not care whether you've lost anything in it or not. It's going to be so-called burned. It's going to be burned. So you have to, again, wait another 10 years so that you can reach the same contribution limit. Okay? So this is very important. On the opposite, there's good news. On the opposite, let's say if you've been in Canada for 10 years, okay, and each year the government has determined 6,000 to be the contribution limit of that year. So you can contribute $60,000 into a TFSA, and you do, and the stock of XYZ explodes, and it's going to become like, I don't know, $6 million. So what happens is, so if you sell that $6 million this year, then next year your contribution limit is going to be 6 million plus whatever the government determines for the next year. So any gain that you have will increase your contribution limit. Okay, remember that. Your gains, of course, should be realized gains, which means that you have to turn into cash. Let's say, for example, you contribute that 60,000, you buy the stocks of XYZ, and your P&L shows in Questrade, your profit and loss shows that you, if you sell your stocks right now, you're gonna be given like 6 million. You can sell your stocks for 6 million. Okay, but you don't sell your stocks, and what happens is next month that price decreases to 3 million. So you decide to sell next week. So what happens is not only your gains are less, but also your contribution limit will be decreased because you didn't sell, you didn't realize. Your contribution limit will increase by your gains only if you turn your assets into cash. Okay, if you don't realize your stocks or turn them into cash, nothing's going to be added. So remember this. Okay, let me give you an example. Suppose in 2020 you turn 18 or get your PR card, thus you're allowed to deposit 6,000. If you do so, then your contribution limit for 2020 is going to become 0 because you already deposited, right? You already contributed. You would have to wait until January 1st next year for the government to announce your new contribution limit. Yeah, that's what I've explained. Now, suppose that the government announces the 2021 limit to be 6,000, and in 2020, which is this year, you deposited just 500. So your remaining limit for 2020 will be 5,500, and 2021 will be 11,500. Okay. Now, suppose you bought stocks with all that 12,000, and God forbid, all your companies that you bought their stocks file for bankruptcy. Then not only have you lost that 12,000, but also you have lost your limit and need to wait until January 1st, 2022 to start building your contribution. Yeah, I think I explained it in the example. Okay, so this is very important. These are the basics of TFSA. What is this? Number 8. If you deposit more than your limit, as I mentioned, you're going to be fined 1% of the excess amount every month until you withdraw it. In our example, if in 2020 you deposit 7,000 instead of 6,000, which you were allowed to, then you need to pay $10 for that extra 1,000 each month until you withdraw it. Okay. And also there is another thing, I think I have put it in the slides, that you cannot buy and sell in TFSA. Although the government, the CRA or Canada Revenue Agency has not determined a specific amount of trades that you can do on TFSA, however, so they haven't determined. But if you do active trading like every day, and they deem it to be your job or they deem it to be your salary, then you gotta pay income tax on it. Remember, there's no limit on how many TFSAs you can have. You can open multiple TFSAs in different banks or brokers. However, the total amount of your deposit when you combine them all should not exceed your limit. So the government does not care even if you have 100 TFSAs, that's fine. But you got to make sure that you know each and every one of their transactions, okay? How much you deposited, how much you withdrawn. And if you remember, I said that when you withdraw, it's gonna actually decrease your limit. 10. Not only doesn't the government tax your gains in TFSA, yeah, but as I mentioned, yeah, but also your gains will increase your contribution limit. In our example, if your 6,000 turns into 60,000 in 2020, okay, and you withdraw all of it in that year, then in 2021 your limit will be 60,000 plus 6,000 that the government is going to announce for 2021. Okay, then you have like 66,000. Yeah, this is, I think I mentioned it in my example. 11, it's better for you to buy Canadians. Yeah, it's better to buy Canadians because US government does not consider this TFSA as a tax shelter, and thus if you buy stocks from US, you can buy stocks from US, you can hold US dollar in it, but to the same amount that you're allowed to, so you got the same amount of it's not like if you're allowed to, for example, let's say your contribution is $40,000. I think it's just Canadian dollars. So if you want to know about the how much United States dollars you can keep in your TFSA, you need to contact CRA. I'm not sure about it, like how much is the contribution calculated that way, or you may be able to chat with Questrade and ask them. But because I don't usually normally do that, I'm not a fan of buying stocks from America, so I really haven't gone to find out about it. Or if you know, please let me know. Okay, please let me know in the comment section. If you're aware, please let me know. If I want to hold like US dollar in my TFSA, is it going to be the same amount of dollars as if I was holding Canadian dollars or not? So as I said, TFSA is a tax shelter, and thus if you buy stocks from the US, you need to pay 15% tax to the government of America or Uncle Sam. Okay, remember this. My preference is not up here in Canada. Let's just support Canadian organizations. It's easier, it's far better. Okay, the last one, I highly recommend not to do any trading TFSA, any day trading. Okay, you can buy as much as you want, but if you start to buy and sell, and if the government deems if they find out that you're doing so, and if, as I said, they deem it to be your income, it's going to be bad for you because you're going to pay tax on it. Siri does not really mention how many trades are allowed in TFSA, but if they deem your day trading to be a job, then you need to pay huge income tax gains. Okay, in general, as a rule of thumb, it's better for you to do only long-term investment in any given account. So yeah, as I said, I am a fan of long-term investment. I may make a video about why I'm so much against day trading and swing trading and stuff like that. Again, it's just my personal preference, so anyone has their own opinion. Okay, so that's it for now. In the next section, we're gonna see what Norbert's Gambit is. It's actually a method that you can exchange your currency. If you'd like to buy American stocks, you have to exchange your Canadian dollars into American dollars. The cheapest method is Norbert's Gambit, so we're gonna talk about that.